All right, guys, welcome back for the second part of our dating app that we've started quite a while ago. I'm sorry it was so long, but I was kind of really busy those last month. Let me just start by wishing you all a very happy 2024. I really wish you all the best in all of your project and in your Flutter journey for this year ahead. And yeah, I'm pretty exciting to be back. I have a lot of projects in mind and my goal for 2024 is to continue bringing you knowledge on Flutter, on Firebase, on BLoC, on all of this mobile app development. But I also want, and feel free to tell me what you think in the comments. I also would love to expand the channel to talk about entrepreneurship, how you could utilize mobile app to create your own startups, deploy a mobile app on different stores and then make money with a mobile app and creating a project that goes beyond the technical aspect of it. So if you're interested in seeing videos like this, please feel free to drop a like, to subscribe to the channel, to help me grow this adventure, and yeah, and comment in the section below if that interests you and what kind of videos you're looking for as well. So today is going to be quite the long video, so sit back and enjoy it because we have a lot to cover. As you can see on the screen right now, we have the mobile app, the dating app that we've created in part one. So it's basically the UI of it all. So if I log out first, so we created an entire authentication system, right, using Firebase. So we're utilizing Firebase authentication and Firestore for the database, which is for now very simple. So if you haven't seen the first part of this dating app, before we jump into it, I really recommend you go there so you will have the basic on how we structure our files inside the Leap folder, but as well with this packages folder right there. We used the user repository there in order to deal with all the user backend calls. So yeah, so if you didn't see the first part, just go there and see it first. Today, the goal is to make it dynamic. So that's a big deal because that's pretty much like taking like an empty shell and making it so we can all use it, right? What do we need? That's the first thing that I ask myself. So I have no idea where I'm going here. You see a lot of videos on YouTube where people they already established and coded everything, and you're just following along basically. But on those kind of big projects like this, I like to just hang out with you and just think as I'm going through the process, and you're there by my side doing the same thing. And if at some point you see that I'm taking a turn or making a decision that you perhaps don't understand or are in a disagreement with, like, drop a comment down below, maybe give me the timestamp or something, and we can discuss this further. So, without any further ado, let's start for today. So, we already have all of the authentication system that works. Here in the sign up process, we get the email, the password, and the name. So here we are gonna need one more information, which is the age of the person, right? So for now, we're just gonna ask the age, and we are not gonna increment it every year. If you want to bring a dating app into the stores, that's something that you might want to consider. If you ask, instead of asking the name, you ask for the date of birth, so you're able to determine that over time. Here, we're just gonna keep it simple. So we're gonna add a field here that's gonna be age, right? Then another thing that we don't have is the location. So basically, on a dating app, mostly you want to be able to locate your user in order to present them with people around, right? So we need to deal with the location. So we've already dealt with the location in the weather app tutorial that's already on the channel. So that's going to be kind of straightforward. The complex part in this one is mostly going to be getting the distance between the 2 points, right? So we have, I mean, the 4 points really, because we have 2 points, the latitude and the longitude for me, for instance, and your latitude and your longitude for yourself. And I want to be able to determine the distance between those 2 points. And if the distance is within the range that the user determined, well, I'm gonna be able to show the profile. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I hope you follow along. I hope it's not too heavy, but we didn't start anything yet, so I'm just rambling. Then I just go over a few notes that I taken so you know where we are headed, and then we're gonna start coding in just a second. Then the other thing that we want, perhaps I'm gonna log myself in, so that's gonna be a bit more clear for you. Um, Hopla, I'm gonna sign in. So we're here. So as you can see here, there is the names that we already have, and there is the age. So that's what we are gonna request. The description here, and that was the location that I was talking to you about. So we are able to say how far the person is. And here in our profile, we already have the photo system working. So that's up and running. So if I click here, it's either going to be camera or photo. But here, since I'm on an emulator, I'm going to take a photo. And we can crop that, and then it's here. So that's going to be the photos of the users. So that thing we're also going to need to add to the database, right? So we're going to need to add the age, we're going to need to store the location, as well as the pictures, as well as the description. Because if we take a quick look on our user model right there, we can see that we only store email, name, and the user ID, which is that. So here we're gonna need to add the age. We're gonna need to add the location. So for the location, we're just gonna do a map, which is gonna be two fields, latitude and longitude inside it, which is two doubles, right? As well here, store the description and the list of pictures. I think that's pretty straightforward. So that's what we're gonna do. And then for the like, dislike, and super like, so those buttons we're not gonna deal with. And I'm inclined to leave the super like because it's just the same logic as a like, and you can implement that if you want. So I think we're just going to focus on the like and on the dislike. So my thought was we have a user collection right here, right? A root user collection, and we will create a sub collection for each document, right? Which is going to be liked by and liked. And you could add as well super liked by, but we're going to just keep that. And liked by, what's going to happen then? It's like if I like somebody, I add my profile to the liked by sub collection of this person, and I check if my profile is in the liked collection of the person that I just like. And if yes, then it's a match, right? And we can symbolize a match with a new sub collection of our user, which we can call match, and we store the two users as well as perhaps the time of the match, as well as later on a conversation, right? A message system. So that's what I want to go. That's what I want to do now, and then obviously display here profiles that are within the range that we are gonna set. I think we're gonna set a fixed range for now. That's gonna be something around like 20 kilometers or something like this. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work, but with emulators, that's gonna be fine. And yeah, we're just gonna create a couple of profile, and if we're able to store all the right informations that I'm just talked about, and then be able to retrieve profiles and like them, dislike them, and match them, I think we're pretty much done for that. And I think it's gonna be pretty heavy as well. So yeah, strap on. Let's get started, shall we? All right, first step that I want to do is update our user class so we can add here the age, right? So perhaps we're going to start by implementing the field. So inside the lib folder under screen auth view, you would see sign up screen. And here, if we scroll down, there is a little mistake in indentation right there. But here we are dealing with the password and here the name, right? Here is where we have our name, and I'm just gonna copy that right there, and I'm gonna paste that. And if I save it, you'll see that here I have the name. What I want to do here is perhaps make this thing scrollable because well, you see that it's a little bit tight, and I don't know if I've made that scrollable yet. Yes, I did, so that's fine. So that's very fine. Okay, so back to the sign up screen. I'm gonna go back to the bottom of it where we have the name, which is here, and I'm gonna say here the hint text is gonna be H. Okay. And as an icon, perhaps I can find some birthday kind of stuff. What can we do here? Perhaps number. Yeah, I don't know what we can put there. I have no idea. Let me check. Yes, well, that will work, right? I guess. I don't know. You can browse and find the one that you want the most. It's okay. So here perhaps we're gonna make age too long, superior at 30. Yeah, well, you can make other checks there. We're just not gonna make it. It's just gonna be a waste of time. But basically, what we want here is the user to be able to say oh, sorry, I was in the wrong stuff. You want to be able to say like 24, and here instead of the name controller we're gonna have the age controller. So we're gonna need to scroll back up and create here under the name controller the the age controller. So right there, age controller, and save that up so we don't we don't type the same stuff in the different fields right there. So that's done. So that's pretty cool. So now what we can see is here at the very bottom on the button action that we have, we are actually setting up based on what was added inside the controllers our user object, right? Our my user object. And here I want to add in my user class the age that was brought by the user. One quick thing, what I'm looking at it right now is I'm thinking to myself, perhaps we can put that to top center, so it's a little bit more clear. Yeah, or if we could just say center. Yeah, that's more clear for everyone. Let's do that. So it's more clear and we don't have the thing at the very bottom for you guys. So yeah, let's do that. Yeah, side note. So now we are going to deal with the user class. So under packages, remember lib source model, and we're also going to have to change the user entity here. We're just going to open the user.dart and the user entity.dart. So we've set it previously. So we are gonna need, I mean, that extended quotable, but that doesn't really matter for now. I've just put it to put it, but if you don't want to put it, that's fine. That's very fine. Sorry. So here our age is gonna be an int because you can't have half an age, right? So that's that. And we're just gonna implement this age throughout our class. So you just follow along with me right there. It's very straightforward. Yeah, it's very straightforward. Up. Why isn't he happy? Yeah, because we're just gonna put that to 0 because it's not a string. Int for the copy. Oh, sorry. That's gonna be an int for the copy with method here. We're gonna call age as well. Sorry if I'm a little bit heavy on the fingers, but I've changed my computer, so I'm still not used to this keyboard, but that will come with the time. Okay, almost done. Age, and I'm gonna do the others on my own, so it doesn't take too much time. So I'm just gonna finish that, so you know what to do for the others, and we're just gonna add that here, age. Okay, so we have added the age parameter throughout our entire class. So now we need to add, oh, I am very sorry for that. We need to add the description, which is going to be a string, the location, which is going to be a map of double, okay, of a string double. And we are going to need to add a list of pictures, which is going to be a list of string. So let me do just that, and then I show you, okay? All right, all right. So I've added everything here. So you can see that I've added those four parameters. So age, we've done that together, and now I've just finished adding the description, location, and pictures. So description is just going to be a string. The location is a string, a map, a string double. Perhaps we're gonna need to make that dynamic stuff. Let's see if Firebase gives us the right stuff. And the pictures is just going to be a list of string because we're going to host the picture directly on Firebase storage. And just so you see, it's the same for the age, but I'm just going to scroll down the document. You can pause if you want to be able to code along and make sure you have everything right. So that, and you see right now, we have some errors with the toEntity and the fromEntity methods. That's totally normal. It's because, well, we need to add those parameters to the user entity.dart, right? So, okay, I hope you had everything. So now I'm just gonna do something up. I'm just gonna copy all that. So that's just gonna be more straightforward and just paste them into the user entity. So I don't have to rewrite everything. So we have all of the parameters that we need for my user entity there. So now I just need to update the toDocument and fromDocument method, right? And as well as the props right here. I mean, we can also just say that this doesn't stand equatable. That will just save us a little bit of time. So everything that saved me time, I'm up for it. So I'm going to save that. And here we need to add, so we need to add age, which is going to be age, right? We need to add description, which is going to be description because it's just a string. So that's very fine. Description. Location. It, since it's already a map, I mean, we could have created a class for the location and call the class like my location or something, but we're just going to try to keep that simple because, I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. And another field, well, another field that we call pictures. And since it's a list, it's also tolerated for Firebase. So that's that. And then we are just going to do the same for the from document method. So age, description, location, and I've missed one, pictures. Okay, not okay, now okay. And now we are pretty much set. So we have our my user entity that's right there with all of the fields that we need. If we go to Firebase, we see we already have email, name, and user ID. Perhaps, no, it's still here, user ID, email, and name. So that's the stuff we already had. And we just added those four parameters: age, description, location, and pictures. And we've implemented those in the constructor itself, but as well in the toDocument method and in the fromDocument method. So when we are going to sign in, to sign up, let's say, this field is going to be filled, this one as well, this one as well, and this one as well. Those three other fields, they're not going to be filled yet because the description and the pictures, they are accessible through the profile, right? And the location, we're just going to request it after you sign up. Between the moment where you sign up and the app opens, we're just going to request your location and update the database there. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. You can update the location every time that you open the app. That's what you should do, perhaps. But I think here what we're going to do is just get the location once you log in, or when the app opens, and that would be that. Okay. Um, Normally, what you want to do with those kind of apps is here, after signing up, do some sort of a onboarding process where the people enter their description, enter their pictures, their age, and all this kind of stuff. Uh, by simplicity, we're just going to play it like this. You can update that yourself if you want. That would be super cool. And I really encourage you to do so. But here, we're here to learn. That will not bring anything to the table, really. So now that this is done, we can go back to the sign up screen. And here we have a new field that we want to implement, which is going to be age. And it's going to be age controller dot text, not that text. Yes. And yeah, because we get a string, we need to convert the string to a number. So perhaps we can say to int. No, so we're gonna do int parse up, and the source is gonna be hcontroller.text. Nice. So that will work. That work. So now we have our four fields that are initialized, right? So the user ID is going to be initialized by itself. We have the email, the name, and the age. And as I just told you, the description, location, and picture is going to be taken just a few steps later on. So if we perhaps try that, so let's say test at gmail.com, I don't know, our password, we're just going to do test1234, okay? Name, we're just going to call him test, and here we're just going to say 24. Now if we sign up, so that worked apparently. So let's go check the database right there. Let's refresh the page. Well, that didn't do a thing, so that's not very encouraging. Perhaps I've done something wrong. Let me check up. Well, that was just my bad. I just didn't have the the authorization in the database anymore. Let's just push that to say 2024. Yeah, that'll do. Publish. You can do your security rules here if you're gonna deploy something. I really recommend you do them, but for now we don't need those. So, uh, so let's try that again by deleting the first. Before deleting, I am gonna log out because otherwise I'm just gonna be locked out outside the app. Okay, tac, nope, sign up, test at gmail.com, test1234. The name is going to be test and the age is going to be 24. Looks like we don't have any errors. Let's check the database. The authentication went through and the Firebase Firestore went through as well. And look here. So here we have a map. See, it's empty. That's okay. We have the name. We have the list of pictures. It's an array. That's what we want. The user ID is there and the age is there with the description, which is a string as well. So that's perfect. So now what we want to do is delete this user, which has the old model inside it. And I want to delete it as well from the Firebase authentication. That's right. So now we are just left with the right data model. Okay. So now that we are here, we are going to deal with the photos and we are going to deal with the description. Perhaps we are going to deal with the description first. I mean, we're just going to deal with both of them at the same time. Um, Here on this screen, what we want to do actually is add some sort of a floating action button, I'm thinking, where the user can click and validate the changes that he've put on his profile, right? So let's try to do that. So here we're just gonna say I'm navigating on the lib screen screens profile, and here profile screen.dart. Sorry, going a little bit fast. So here under the scaffold, we're just gonna add a floating action button. Let's just do that. And here for now, we're just gonna set it to nothing and save that. Cool. We're gonna add an icon perhaps to make it a little bit more beautiful. I guess it takes a child. It does take a child. And here Cupertino, I see nothing. Cupertino icons dot add, I guess. Need to import Cupertino dot add. And the color, we need it to be white to be consistent. Okay, up. And we're gonna add the constant. Perfect. So now in our profile, uh, instead of the plus, I want a check mark. Yes, that's what I want. Yes, that's better. So here we're gonna put some photos and stuff and the description, and once we're ready, we're just gonna click on this button and that's gonna send it to the database in order to update our profile. I think that sounds great. Okay, so let's do just that. So and then we're going to deal with the location, okay, and then we'll be pretty much set for the data that we need from the user, and move on to the like dislike system. So let me think. Let me think. We already are getting the pictures. That's been a little bit of time, guys, since I've went through the code. So don't be mad at me if I'm looking a little bit at everything. Yes, for adding a photo, we are redirecting to this screen, which is add photo screen right there. Let me just add the constant here. Create new, and that's where we are dealing with the image picker and the crop files. And we are popping with the list of images right there, which is a list of string, which is exactly what we want. So I guess it's here that's happening. Yeah, it's exactly here. So the image logic is happening here. So if the new photo is empty, all right, I mean, it's not empty, and the new photo, which is a parameter, I suppose it's at the top. Yes, it's a list of string right here. Yeah, okay. We are pushing this new stuff. I guess that's for if you click on it, nothing happens again. Yes, that's why this if method is here. Is you can click on that, you can just delete that. Smart, smart. But that doesn't really matter here. New photos that add all the photos, right? So here perhaps we're just going to replace the new photo parameter with our user pictures parameter. So here, a cool way to call your user with the method that with the way we've created our app, if you call context.read, and here you call, oh my God, and here you call, I don't know if we have a my user block. We have a my user block dot state dot user. No, we don't actually. So perhaps it's inside the authentication block dot state dot user dot. Oh yeah, that's the problem we have is we actually need right there the my user block to be able to have our user. So let me see what I've done there. So we have a my user block that's here. Ah yeah, we don't use it. We don't use it at all. Do we use it in the app view, or we just absolutely skip that part? We absolutely just skip that part. That's very all right. We're just going to do it now, and I'm going to do it straight up inside the authentication block right there, because we're dealing with a user right here. And the thing is, this user is not a my user type in terms of class. It's a user, and the user class is coming from Firebase authentication, and we don't want that. We don't want that. So here, just gonna say my user instead of a user, and here my user. Okay, that's here. Um, events.user. It's because in the authentication event here we need to change my user. Save that. Authentication user change, and authentication user change has my user, but this is a user, right? Yes, because we need to change the getter. So I know it's a little bit much, but let's just follow along. Under the user repository inside the Firebase user repository, here we have our getter. This getter is just telling us if the user is connected or not, and that redirects our user in or out the app. And it's returning a user. Here we don't want a user, we want a my user, right? The problem is that that's not what we are getting here. So we're going to need to change a little bit this method. Let me show you how. All right, so what we need here is to change this method, right? Oh no, sorry, this method. We need, instead of a map, we need a flap map, sorry. And this flap map is coming from a specific package, which actually is Eric's Dart. So now we need to navigate. Where is my here? We need to navigate to pub.dev, sorry, pub.dev. Oh my God, I'm struggling, am I? Yes, I am. Pub.dev. And here we're gonna search for Eric's Dart. And we're going to take the first package that's right here. As you can see, very popular, and it's basically for enhancing the Dart's capabilities. And we're going to copy that and paste it inside our prospect.yaml file. And we're just going to paste it right here and save that. That's going to do a pub-get. And inside our Firebase, oh yeah, well, I've placed it in the wrong prospect.yaml file. I'm going too fast. I actually needed to paste it in the prospect.yaml file, which is under the user repository right here. So that's what I'm going to do now. Up and save that. And now I'm going to go back to Firebase user repository and import erix.dart. Okay. So this flap map is basically an enhance map function, right? That method that you can call. And here, what I'm going to do is, since we are using a stream, I want to yield some stuff, right? So here I want to say that this is going to be async, but with a star because we're yielding some stuff. So yield here, but we're not yielding anything. So we're gonna say if our Firebase user is equal to null, then we want to yield my user dot empty. Yes, sounds like what we should yield. Else, we want to get the user and then yield it, right? So in order to do that, we can just take the we didn't create that one, right? So let's create that. So we are gonna have here await users collections dot document, and here we're going to say firebase user dot uuid, uid. So this Firebase user, remember, is the user from Firebase Authentication, and the UID is a field that comes within this Firebase Authentication class, which gets the ID of the user, right? The ID of the user, if I navigate to Firebase, is going to be this, okay? So we are going to get that. But if you look in the Firestore, our ID is the same. Well, because we've made it that way, right? So that's very convenient. But nothing is a mistake right there. Nothing is by chance. We're gonna get this document, and we're gonna say then, and then we're gonna say my user dot from entity, my user entity dot from document, and here it's gonna be value dot data. Okay. Here it takes a map, lap, that right there. Okay, and we are gonna say that yield. I guess we are pretty much done with this. Yeah, I guess we are. Why do we have these errors? Why? What does it say? It says isn't an override. Ah, yes, of course. We need to navigate now to the user repo because we have here, remember, our abstract class and not a user anymore. It's a my user. And if we save that and save that, we should be good to go. And the cool thing now is here, uh, my user. So yeah, because we need to change this stream subscription right there to a my user. Okay. And now that we have that, we can refresh everything, and we can go back to what we were doing. Not here, not here, not here neither. It was here. I was showing you that if we access context.read.authentication.state.user, remember the user previously was here, the user was a Firebase authentication user, and now it's a my user. So it's our user. So we can access the fields that we need, okay? And that's exactly what we are doing, okay? So I guess I can demonstrate you straight up how it works. If I log myself out, refresh that thing, he's not really happy about something. Yeah, I guess we need to refresh the app or something. Let me log myself in. I think we'll see in the console the user informations. Yes, we do. Tac, 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 tac. I don't know what we are displaying here, but we're displaying a lot. That's not the our user. That's definitely the Firebase authentication user. What are we displaying on the blog right here? Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's working. That's what matters. In the profile screen now, so what we had there. So we said that we want to replace the new photos with our pictures. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that, and here I'm gonna just say that. So here we had new photo that is not empty. So let's say that if pictures dot is not empty, and we're gonna just say that, and up, just take that, just perhaps gonna go on another line. I just want you guys to be able to see everything. Okay, and up, yes. So let me see. Yes, that works. Let's take a picture at random. Okay, and if I click on it, doesn't work. Okay, cool. And so photos, this is a temporary variable, so we don't need to change it. But here, instead of adding the stuff to the new photo, we're just going to add that to our pictures that are inside our user. And now I'm going to replace everywhere there is new photo with what we want. And a quick way to do it in VS Code is just do that, and it's just going to replace it for you everywhere. Okay, and now we can comment that, and we can save that thing, and let's see what we've done, if that works still. Okay, guess it works. Guess it works. Yeah, that works. Amazing. Yep, that's amazing. And now we can even say on the button that we've created, so you see that it's actually working. Where is the button that we've created? Here. Here we're going to say print, not parent, but print. And we're going to print our user so you can see our user. So I'm going to open the command up, clear that for you. I click on it. Nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Should I restart my app? Yes, I will restart my app. I will be back in just 1 second. All right, guys, it's rebuilt. Just needed to do a quick pub get and rebuild the app. We can see that we have an error right there because obviously once it's like there is a case where the location is empty from Firebase and it gives us a dynamic, not a double. And yeah, so that happens a lot of time with you can cast it and all this, but really I think what's really good is to just say that it's a dynamic stuff. I think that's better. Can we please just yes, user entity, I've said dynamic, but here user.dart, I need to say that it's dynamic as well. Gonna save that, gonna rebuild the app. List dynamic. Yeah, see, we have the same problem. List of string. Once you use like a list or a map, like Firebase is gonna give you a dynamic stuff because it just doesn't know what's inside, right? And so you need to use dynamic even though you know what's there. You can later on just cast this thing and be done with it, and that would be just that. And you can see now we have or my user straight up from the authentication state right there. So that's pretty cool. And what I wanted to show you actually before all of that, let me clear the console, is if I'm selecting a picture right there and saying okay, if I click there, we see that we have our user and it's here with the user ID, that's there, the email, the name, the age. This empty stuff should be the description. This is going to be the location. And this list right here, it's only the image, right, that we just put there, which is for now store inside the phone, but we want to send that to Firebase storage. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And if we add another photo, you'd see that the list is going to just be incremented by one up. And here, see, the list is bigger. We have our first item that's right here. Okay, tack, that's the first picture, and that's the second picture right there. So basically, what we are going to do with Firebase storage is just going to loop through this array and send one by one those files to the database. Okay, now let's deal with the description, right? So that was a little bit more work than expected, but that's fine. So profile screen, guys, profile screen. Let's scroll down to the About Me section, which is down, About Me right there. Tack. We should have a text field, text form field, which is here. I don't know why I've put a text form field. I should have just put a text field, but that's okay. So we're going to add a controller to that. And we're going to say description controller. And we're just going to, at the very top of our project, of our file, sorry, create a text form field. I mean, a controller, a text editing controller that we call description controller. And that's a text editing controller. All right, cool. Now what I want to do is scroll down to our button right there. And before we are going to send those things to the database, I want to say that controller.read, and here we're going to have a problem. That was not the right button. Sorry, that's the logout button. Not good at all. It's the one that is above. It's here. The floating action button. And I want to take that. And here we're going to have a problem because some fields in the user stuff are perhaps they're not. Let's see. User, I think that's a final one. So that copy with, I think that's final, right? Yeah, you can't do that. Can you? Can I? I don't think. Yeah, because it's final. So yeah, so that's going to be a problem, but we can overcome it by just saying here that the description is equal to description controller.text. And we're going to have the same problem, but we're going to deal in a different matter. So here you see that the description field is final. So if you navigate to our class user.dart, you'd see that this description is final, and I don't want it to be final. So here, because I don't want it to be final and I don't want to have some crazy errors, I'm going to delete equatable for now. We can add this later and make that work later. But yeah, that's fine. So I'm just going to say that this is yeah, this is optional. Sorry. And it's not optional, actually. Yeah, it's not optional. And here it's not a constant anymore. It's just final. And we're going to save that thing. And now we don't have any errors anymore. All right. So now if I add a picture, like I can click, let's see, let's compare. You'd see on the debug console, if I click on the button here, you'd see that I have an instance of my user, right? Which I want to perhaps create a toString method for that thing. Yeah, I want to create toString method, so I'm just going to do that right now. toString up. I'm going to return, let's return my user double dot, and we're just going to return, yes, let's take that. And we're going to make it like this so we can spread to multiple lines, so that's more clear for everyone. Up. And now let's add the real deal right there. Okay. I save that and we do it again. Yes, that's something like this. Perhaps we don't want that. Let's see if that changes the thing. Yes, it does. Perfect. Okay. So that's the user as is, okay? So we only have the user ID, the email, the name, and the age. That's very fine. The description is empty, the location is empty, and the picture is empty, okay? So now I'm gonna add a picture, okay? So now if I press again, you'd see that we have now a picture inside our array, okay? That's pretty cool. And if I say, this is me as a description, and I click again, well, you'd see that we have all of the same stuff with the description here, this is me. So that's pretty cool. So now the last thing that we need to do on this screen is to actually send that to our database right there, okay? So that's the next thing. So we want to send the description and all of the pictures to Firebase storage and then to Firebase Firestore. And we're not sending the files to Firestore. We are only sending the URL, the access URL to those pictures. And since we have that, then we're going to need to do a little bit of tweaking on those pictures, because if we already have pictures, we want to load them already instead of having a blank stuff. See, if this is sent to Firestore, I go back and I go back here again, that works. But if I reload the app, it's gone, right? And I don't want it to be gone if there is data in the database. So let's do just that. So, okay, how are we going to do that thing? So under packages, still dealing with the users, so still gonna use the user repository. Under lib source Firebase user repository.dart, but first user repository, we're gonna say future. I don't know what it's going to return, so I'm just gonna let it blank for now. Future, I don't know, set user data, we already have it, or what? Set user data. Yes, we already have it, so I'm gonna have to call it something else. Um, uh, user setup. Yes, that would work. So what do we need? So we need actually, well, we need the my user. That's the only thing that we really need. Yeah, that's it. So, okay, so we're gonna need that. There is an error here because we just need to override the function that we've just created, which is the user setup. Okay, so we are gonna take the same pattern as we have done already several times in this file. Just gonna paste that in right there. I'm gonna add the async mark because we're dealing with futures here, and this has nothing to do with this, so we can just delete that. Okay, so first thing first, we are uploading stuff to Firebase storage. Once we've done that, we can get the URLs, okay, the pictures URLs, redefined the how do you say that, yeah, the strings that we have that represent those pictures inside our object by those URL strings, and return that. So here actually we are going to return my user. I'm going to update that inside the user repository. You'd see why. Because here we are coming in with a my user object, which has pictures that are stored inside the phone. We are going to send those pictures to Firebase storage, and Firebase storage is going to give us a new string, which is going to be a network URL. And I want then to modify my user object pictures with those new URLs and send that to the app so we can still see those things, but like dynamically now, okay? So that's what we are doing here. And keep in mind that my user dot pictures is a list, okay? It's an array. So because it's an array, we need to loop inside it in order to send all of the pictures to the storage. You can use whatever I'm using here for in. You can use for each, you can use whatever. So here we are going to say file, image file is equal to file. And here we are going to take the picture. Let's do that up picture. So we need to import file. So let's take dart.io. Once we have that, I mean, that's simply to have the file itself, right? Because we are storing in the my user, not the file, but the path to the file. And here we want the file to be able to send it to Firebase storage. So we are going to have a reference. I see nothing. Reference here. That's from the Firebase storage package, which obviously I do not have included. So let's get it. Pub.dev, Firebase storage. Yes, that's you I am looking for. Just gonna copy it and gonna paste it inside the perspect.yaml file into our user repository level. Just under the Cloud Firestore. Seems like a good place. Save the file, that's gonna do a pub-get. And now normally I can import that thing. Yes, I can. Perfect. So reference, so a reference not equal, but let's say a Firebase storage ref, sounds like a good name. So it's going to be Firebase storage dot, I'm going to go here so you can see what I am doing, dot instance dot ref dot child. And here we are going to get the specify the path where we want to put the images, right? So we want to be separated for each user. So we are going to create a folder that is going to be named users. And under that, we are going to create another, another folder that is going to be called, that is going to be the user ID. Okay. So we have access to the user ID actually by doing just that. My user dot user ID, yes, slash no, not here, here slash pictures. And here we are gonna say that we're just gonna do image file, the one that we've just created above, image file dot we can we access the name of that thing? We can't. I think I need to up base name is somewhere, right? I don't know which package I need to use to be able to use base name. Let me just check that and I will be back in a sec. Okay, apparently from my quick research, it's from the path package. So let's import our path package inside our perspect.yaml file, save that thing, and normally because every version of Flutter test depends on path 1.8.3. I am already using path. That's what you're telling me. I'm losing my mind, perhaps. Am I using it here? I am not using it here, at least from, no, I am not. Well, I guess I'm gonna follow what they tell me and just use the 1.8.3, which works and which makes me really happy because I don't really mind. Oh wow, I don't know what I've done. Crazy. Yep, close yourself. And now normally I can access base name. Yep, base name. And that takes a file, right? A string. Yes, that takes a string. So let's just say that the string is going to be picture and string name equal. Yeah. See what it does? So you specify the path. So here of our picture, right? And it's just going to return us this, which is pretty cool. This is what we want from our file. So image name, perhaps. So it's more clear for you guys. Image name, and here path. Yes, just like that. We don't need those things, but we sure as hell need that. Okay. So I think now we are ready to send that up to Firebase. So now under that thing, just gonna call await um, image, yes, await Firebase storage reference, so this, okay, dot put file. You have different stuff here. We're using files, so we're just going to use the file. And that's that. So that will send the file to Firebase storage, okay? Now we want to get the new URL, remember? So to do that, string image URL is equal to Firebase storage reference dot get download URL. Very straightforward, you can't mess that up, and that's an asynchronous call. So we need the await, sorry. So that's just going to fetch a long life download URL for this object that we are going to store inside Firebase storage, inside Firebase Firestore, sorry, our database. So that's that. But here we are just dealing with it as there is only one, right? And there isn't only one. But oh, sorry guys. We are dealing with as there is only one, but there is actually a list of them. So what I want to do is actually create a temporary list of string. I'm going to call it temp URL, and I'm going to set that to an empty array at first, okay? And what I want to do is say then that temp.add, and I'm going to add image URL. So because we're inside a loop, this thing is going to change every time that we deal with a new picture, right? With another picture. By doing that, now I can say at the end of the loop that my user dot pictures is equal to temp URL. And because it's still a final one, we need to navigate to the class itself, the user.dart, to the top, and make the pictures non-final as well as here. That doesn't matter here, just here. Okay, save that. And now that's everything that we need, because now we just send the new stuff to Firestore. Okay, so now I want to say await. I want to say await user collection. That's what we call that. Yes, user collection dot document, which is going to be my user dot user ID, right? And here I will, well, you have two options here. You can either say update or you can say set, right? Set is going to, let's say, crush everything that's already there inside your document and replace it with what you're giving it. And update is requiring like a map with the stuff that you want to change. So here, let's not be let's not take the easy option of just crushing everything. Let's try to make it as you should expect, right? So we already have in our database age, email, name, and user ID. Here we are only dealing with the description and the pictures. So those are the two fields that we want to have an impact on. So description and pictures. That's pictures. Okay, so that's the two fields that we really have an impact on here. And I just want to say my user dot pictures here. And for the description, you've guessed it, I can't hear you, my user dot description. Perfect. And don't forget that this is waiting a return of type my user. So to finish this method, we're just going to return my user and save that. And normally now everything should work if I didn't mess that up. So I guess we need to find out if I've messed that up. And by extent, you did too. So let's navigate to the lib folder, screens, profiles, profile screen. So we are here, remember, on the floating action button. Let's try that. We need to actually create a block. My user block, we can delete that block because we are clearly not using it, but we can create a new block right there. I just right click on blocks and block new block. It's because I have the block package. I think you could block extension. It's here. You can download that. Creates the blocks structure for you. pretty convenient if you ask me. And we're gonna say um, setup uh, data. Yeah, sounds like something I can work with. Yes, just rename that thing setup data block so we know what we're doing. So the event of this block is going to be a class that we're going to call setup required. Do that, and that's going to be an extension of setup data event, and that's going to take a final parameter that is going to be my user. So far, so good. We need to create the constructor of it, setup required, up, setup required, and pass the my user parameter, and this is going to be a constant, and we want to override the props and fit it with my user. Now that the event is done, let's deal with the states. So we have three different kind of states here that we can want. So we are going to have setup data failure, setup data loading, and setup data success. And remember, for success, since we're returning something from our method within our user repository package, I want to say my user here as a parameter, and then create the constructor setup data success, pass him with the my user, and as in the event, feed the props with the my user. Save that. That's done. That's done. Now we are on the setup data block. Okay. So here it's not setup data event, is setup data required. I think that's what I called it. Perhaps it's not. Setup required. Yes, sorry, my bad. So here inside a try catch, we are going to do several things. First, we're going to emit before the try catch, we're going to emit setup loading, setup data loading. If it catches something, we are going to emit setup data failure. And if everything goes right inside the catch, we're not going to emit, but we're going to emit setup data success. And he's expecting a my user that we are going to give it right there. So this method is going to be asynchronous, and we need to access our user repository from this block. So that's what I am doing right there. Need to feed that to the constructor of the setup data block. And here we can use that. So we are going to say my user updated user is equal to user repository dot user setup. And this user setup takes my user as a parameter, and it's not happy because it's a future, so it's a wait. And here to complete the block, just feed the success with the updated user. And voila, easy, right? Once you know, I know I'm perhaps going a bit fast on this block stuff, but I swear to God, if you really go full on block design and stuff, and you do it 100 times, then it's just going to be finger in the nose to create those blocks. So let me just walk you through it a bit more in detail. So you have the event. That's the setup required, okay? So that takes a my user as a parameter, and this is the thing that we are going to call in the profile screen once the user click on the button. The setup required, so this event is going to trigger the block on the setup required. So the first thing it's going to emit to the app is a state that we've created, which is called setup data loading. This is going to lock the app with perhaps a circular progress indicator while we are entering the try catch loop, okay? If the try catch loop, we go inside the try catch loop. The first thing we're going to do is trigger this user setup methods that is from our user repository and give it the my user object that we created inside our event, right? And the event is right here, and it's of type setup required. okay? Setup required, which has a my user as a parameter. We're gonna await this response. So here we're gonna upload to Firestore storage, to Firebase storage, and to Firestore. And if everything goes right, we are gonna then populate this updated user parameter and feed that to setup data success, right? That is going to stop the circular loading indicator there and perhaps say well done. And if there is something that goes wrong right there, we are going to emit setup data failure, which is perhaps going to show on the app, sorry, something went wrong, try again. Okay, perhaps you cut off your internet or anything while the work was happening here and there was a problem, and then you can tell the user, well, try again. And that's exactly how it works. Okay, so now here in our floating action button, we can try that thing. So let me close that up so you can see a bit more stuff. So we're here, okay guys, we're here. So we are set state here to update the description. We don't need to do that for the pictures because we've dealt with them dynamically right there, okay? But what we want to do is now say context.read, and this is going to be setup data block, and we're going to add an event, and the event is setup required, and we need a user, and our user, we can access it in the authentication block. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Hopla. It's not happy because null statement. Okay, and that's that. Now we're going to add a block listener right there in order to display the right things, and then we'll be pretty much set up. But let's try it. Let's try it. Am I forgetting some things? I don't know. Perhaps I am. We're just going to figure that one out. So let's add a picture, and let's add description. This is me. And now I'm going to click on that thing, and I'm going to open. Wow, that was very large. I'm going to open the debug console. A lot of different errors. I don't know why. And click on this. Yeah, a problem because yeah, I didn't feed the setup data block to the page, to the profile screen. So we need to do that. So the profile screen, we are accessing it throughout the persistent navigation bar, which is here, and it's right there. So here we have a block provider, and we actually want a multi-block provider right there. I don't know if I can convert that. Normally I can, but it doesn't seem like I can now. Doesn't seem like I can, so I'm going to just write it. Multi-block, no, not multi-block provider. So that just takes a providers, sorry, and the child. So the child is going to still be that. And the provider is a list, actually. And I'm just going to take the provider I've created here up. And there is no need for this provider to have a child because the multi-block provider provides one by default. So we don't need to have the child right there. And here I'm going to add another block provider, but it's not going to be sign-in block, but it's going to be a setup data block. And since I didn't put the curly brackets on the constructor, I do not need that. And if I save that and rebuild the app, why don't you rebuild yourself? He's not happy at all with the Firebase. Perhaps I'm going to need to again rebuild my app. Yes, I think I am going to need to do that. So let's do just that. Sorry. Up. I will be back. All right, guys. So the app is rebuilding now, and I've fed what we said earlier, so the setup data block. So now let's try it again and see if something happens. Perhaps something already did happen, but we just didn't see it, didn't we? So let's just check that out. That's what I was thinking prior. No, okay. So here I'm gonna add an image. Sorry, I took a little bit of a coffee break as well. So now I'm getting back inside it. This is me. Okay, let's just clear the console, see if something happens. Setup data loading. Okay. Uh, I know why we are not seeing anything. I should for sure enable storage in Firebase. So build storage inside your project and get started. We're just gonna go into test mode for now. Click on done. That's not gonna finish up, so we can just reload that thing. Um, so it's creating the bucket and creating the space and stuff. Should have done that before. I'm sorry, but yeah, definitely now it's going to work. I mean, we have all of the stuff for it to work, so let's just hope it does. And I'll be back when this is done loading. Well, this is done loading now. So we have our Firebase here and we have our storage right there. So let's try that again, shall we? Photo, let's upload the photo. This one will do. And this is me. Up. Let's clear out the console so we have a clear view of what's happening. Setup data loading and and setup data success. So we yeah, amazing. So a few things happened here, but the most important thing is let's check out our database to see what happened. So remember, we have our users folders. Here we find the user ID, the pictures folder, and we have this image. Amazing. That's the one image that we were dealing with. It's a bit big, huh? So you can crop that down if you like. But that will do. So that's good for storage. And now in Firestore, well, that's amazing. We have our description and we have our pictures right here. Um, that's amazing because here you see that we have the Firebase storage kind of URL, which is allowing us to, and you find it here again, to access those images through the network image stuff widget, sorry, network image widget, not stuff, which is amazing because then we can retrieve those information straight up from that. Because here, if I reload the app, we go back here, nothing's there. That's normal, and you'd see that there is a problem right there because we actually have something, but we are not using the right widget. Okay, because we're using let's close that. On profile screen, it's exactly where we need to be. On the profile screen here, if we go down, we are using a file image. Yeah, here, a file image. And that's just not going to cut it if we already have pre-existing images. The cool thing is our URL start with HTTPS, so we can actually see if it's a network image or a local stored image. So here we can say that if our context.read uh, authentication block dot state dot user dot user dot pictures user, perhaps I want to say, yeah, dot pictures, and then get the index because we're in a grid view, huh? Since we're inside a grid view, we can do that. Pictures dot no, up e oh my god, yeah, dot start with uh yeah, I mean, here we can say as string, and then we have all of the stuff that we need. As string dot start with HTTPS. And the start with method is just returning a boolean. So if it returns a boolean, that means that here we have an image that comes from Firebase because it starts with HTTP. And if not, we are just using the file image right there. And if we are using the image from the HTTP, we need a network image. And the network image is just going to be that. I guess that's fair enough. Network image is not good enough here. Let me check. Uh-huh. What is the problem? The argument type object can be assigned to parameter because what? As string, perhaps? No, that doesn't work. Okay, let me check. I'll be back. Well, okay, that's what I was trying to avoid, but apparently there is some sort of a bug, or it's perhaps me, but you can't directly use some sort of ternary operation within the image parameter of a decoration image widget. So I've just split it one step above in our decoration. So here, if the picture start with HTTPS, we're using the network image, okay? So from Firebase. And if not, we're using the file image widget, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. If I take another picture, this picture is not coming from Firebase. So we're using the file image for now as a temporary kind of stuff in order for us to still see it, and you will still see it throughout the app because that's persistence. The last thing we need to do here is display the descriptions if there is one. And for that, I just want to do it here straight up in the init state. So what I'm going to do here and set the description controller.text and say that it is equal to controller.read authentication block.state.user.description. And yeah, up like this. Sorry, here. I'm gonna save that and we are going to reload the app and let's see what's happening now. So we have our image that was saved as well as our description. And if we change it, if we change the description and say this is a new description for me, and we add another picture, let's say, yeah, perhaps we're gonna have a problem with the picture. Perhaps that this picture is going to be added again. Let's try that. Let's see if that was done. Scroll down. Setup required. Setup data failure. Do we have any idea why? Because perhaps the the picture was already there. So what we'll do to make sure, we're going to navigate to Firebase user repository right here, and here instead of logging we're going to print that thing because I can't see anything inside the console. But most importantly, what we are going to say here is if inside the for loop, if our picture, which is the string, right, starts picture, it's not a var, it's a string, picture dot start with https, and we are going to say that if it doesn't start with an https, we can go do the entire stuff. Otherwise I don't want to do it. Up no, here. Okay, so if it doesn't start with https, doesn't matter, we do that. Yeah, and here we are going to say my user's picture dot add all temp URL, and perhaps that is going to change some stuff. So let's see inside our debug console. Let's navigate to our database and see what's up. So here I'm going to open the storage in a new tab and we're going to figure this thing out. So this user picture, so we only have this picture right now. Okay, so if I am trying to only change the description, okay, this is a new description. Okay, setup data success, so we are good. So if we go to our database, this is a new description, so that worked, no problem. And now we are adding a new picture to the mix. Let's see how that does. Let's clear the console and say that. Yeah, setup data success, which makes very much sense because what was happening is it was coming here and it was trying to get like to transform the URL that we have representing the picture into a file, and it couldn't because it couldn't find the file within the phone. So obviously that didn't work. But here you can see now, oh, but we have a problem. But other than that, it's because of the at all. I'm gonna fix that thing just now. How many pictures do we have here? We only have two, so that's pretty cool. So now what we want to do here is perhaps reverse what I've just done. My users dot pictures, but I don't want it to only be equal to this because the temporary URL is going to be because here what do we have? We have 2 times this one, which if it makes sense is the last one that we've put, right? It's the first one. Why is that? Because we are outside the loop. So we say that map pictures is equal to temporary URL, but temporary URL only adds this URL. Uh-huh. But if we do just that here, that should fix it, right? Let me just refresh that thing. That's normal that we have two there. So let me just go inside the database and perhaps delete all of the pictures that we had and try to upload two of them. Oh, I don't know what I've done. I've probably deleted something that was not meant to be deleted. Let's see. We have the user ID, pictures, location, email. I've deleted the name. Well done me. So name, that was test. Nobody saw that. Let's go inside the storage and we're gonna delete those two things as well. And let's try it again. So on the app, let's reload that thing and let's upload this picture first. Yes, and then the other one, this one. Yeah, okay. And just gonna clear the console just to see if everything goes right. Setup data failure. So we have a problem somewhere. Um, Current modification during iteration, instance length 3 of growable list. Yes, of course, I can't do that because I am adding new stuff to my for loop, which is going to loop through it again. So obviously it's not possible. Um, so let me think about this. So here we can't do what I've done. It's just not possible. We have to play with the temporary URL. But this, when we arrive here, is going to have the temporary URL. We're not going to loop through that if that doesn't start with HTTPS. So the one that is already there should not be there. And then we can just, I mean, I'm strongly confident that this thing should work. Temporary URL, just to be sure. We're just going to print temporary URL to be sure of what's inside it. But yeah, okay. So it uploaded the first one twice again, did that again. I mean, it's there once, that's for sure. But we only have one here. So now I'm confused about everything. Let's take a step back, and it's not here because we had a failure. So that's totally normal. It's just in the cache of the app. So we have that, and we are just going to reload the app. Reloading the app, and here there is nothing, no pictures. That's what we want. So let's take this one, and let's take this one. Okay, so now I'm going to clean that again and go through that process. Worked apparently. Looks like we have 3 of them again. Yes, we have 3 of them. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. We have 4 of them. We looped 2 times inside it. What happened? Okay, let me expand that. Not keep it away. Up. So what's up with our temporary URL? Firebase storage, Firebase storage. Yeah, so it's equal to 2, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we add temporary URL, we have our image URL, and then we say my user pictures is, and we add all temporary URL, which is only a length 2. So why is that outputting for URL? Am I looping to something again? I didn't see. Perhaps let me check that out. I'll be back. Yeah, I see what's going on. Here we have the path without the HTTP, and here we have the path with the HTTP. So that's what's happening, because when we are adding those things to pictures is not an empty one, right? It's already filled with the temporary path of those pictures, and later on will be filled with the HTTP that we already have. So that in itself works, except that it doesn't really, because if we should first clean my user pictures from everything that doesn't contain an HTTP, right? And replace those things with our URL, right? I think we should do something like this. So let's see how we could do that. I told you already, guys, huh? I'm figuring this out as we go, and we are figuring this out together. Feel free to pause the video and try to figure that one out on your own. That would be a cool thing to do, I believe. So yeah, so we already do one loop, so doing another loop would not be optimal, that's for sure. We could definitely play within this one. Um, yeah, we could definitely, because up and then here we could say my user dot pictures dot remove, and we say picture. Yeah, that work. I don't know if it's going to impact the length of the loop. Then that would impact the length of the loop only if I was not doing that. But since I'm doing that, perhaps we are good. Okay, let's delete that thing. Let's delete that thing. Oh my God, let's delete that thing. Let's try to keep the name this time, and that thing. Okay, here a quick refresh should show us the two files. I'm gonna delete those. Okay, we're ready to go again and try. So let's go onto the profile, photo, this photo, and this photo. Yeah, this one. Okay, and let's see. Looks better. That looks better. Okay, that looks very good. We have a success right here. Let's roll the drums. We only have one image, which is not good. But here we have our two. We have one image that went through and the other one that didn't, because we had an impact on the length of it all, didn't we? Looks like we did. If I refresh the app, only the first one, the two of them are here. Or now I'm very confused. Because I store that. So it's using that as, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes, of course. So that's not a good reference. Yes, only the first one went through. Okay. Only the first one went through and the other one is displaying, because as we've done the little trick with the network or the files, since the image is stored on the phone at the same location, he sees it. So he displays it, but it's not here. So don't think it's working. It's not working. Okay, so it looks through the first one, um, and then removes the first one as doesn't remove the first one as it should, but does it? But it actually does it for the second one. because the URL that we have, the picture that was uploaded is the first one, and I'm guessing that the URL that we have is the first one. Yes, so that's good. So the first one worked, but the second one didn't work then. And why is that? I'm gonna figure it out. I'll be back. All right, didn't took me long at all. Very straightforward. I've just reused our temporary URL, adding the image URL that was given by Firebase storage. Sorry, and then I've just added this line: my user.pictures.remove where the element, so the picture doesn't start with HTTP. Okay, and then I've just added to my user pictures the temporary URL. And that works amazing. As you can see, we have 3 pictures here. There are 3 HTTP strings inside our Firestore and 3 images inside our storage, which finishes everything that we were doing there. We could add the remove here, which we could add. Perhaps we'll do it at the end of the video because that's not mandatory for what we're doing. So now, if we look at Firestore, we see that we have everything we need except from the location. So that's the next step that we are going to try to do, is getting the location of the user, so the latitude and the longitude of the user, and store that. And once we have that, we will move on to the like, dislike, and match stuff. And I think I'm going to do another part in this series. I think once we have the location, it's already an hour and a half of a video. I'm going to cut that here, and we're going to do a third part that will come out probably next week or something, where we're finishing everything off. I don't want to overflow you guys. So now, last step, the location. So let me figure that thing out, and I'll be back. All right. So as I said already, we've already done getting the location on the weather app. If you didn't see that video, I recommend you go see that. So basically, what we are going to lose is the package geolocator, right? So this package, I can add geolocator to dependencies just like that. And we are doing it inside the main.dart file right here, but perhaps in our specific situation, we would want to put it right there. So I think we should put it right there inside the app view instead of, or perhaps inside the app. No, inside the app view, that should be great here. Yes, once you're authenticated, we'll do that there. Yeah. So we are gonna up, just remove those unused stuff and move the geolocator package from the main to the app view.dart. Once we have done that, we are going to utilize a function that's given inside the geolocator package. And this function is this one, and I'm just going to put it right there. And there is no need for us to create a separate file. We can just paste it. And this function is determine position, right? And it's going to give you the latitude and the longitude that you need as a position class that it's given by the geolocator package. And what we want to do here is before going to the persistent tab screen, actually call something that is going to set the location inside our database, right? And inside our user. So what we want to do is wrap the persistent tab screen with a future builder, I think. I think I want to do it like this. Yeah, I want to wrap this with a future builder. We'll try that, and if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. But as a future, we are gonna call determine position, right? This method. You can go over it. It's really utilizing the package. It's very straightforward. And we are gonna do that. And here, what are they need? Well, yeah, they need something with the builder. It's the context, but as well a snapshot, right? Yeah. And here, what we want to do then is perhaps, because here if we access, so if we say if snap dot has data, okay, we can say snap dot data. sorry, snap.data. My God. And here you see the latitude and you see the longitude, right? So you have snapshot.data.latitude, snapshot.data.longitude, and those two things are doubles, okay? And those two things are the two things that we are going to store inside Firestore, right? So we could do a BLoC here. I mean, we could do a qubit even because there is no user input. So the best way to look at it would be to do a qubit, in my opinion, right there. Um, yeah, so what do I want to do? If the snapshot has some data, I want to get those two things. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting those two things, and then I'm just going to return persistent type screen. But I can do it just now, just there. Yeah, no problem. Um, and we can either do a BLoC, but perhaps here, if we want to keep it simple, you would want to use a BLoC or a qubit right here. That would make more sense. But I'm gonna access directly our user repository from our authentication block, and here I'm gonna create inside package lib source. I'm gonna open user repo and Firebase user repo, and here I'm gonna say future void setup location. That's it, and I'm gonna override that method inside the Firebase user repository, which is now right there. Perfect. Gonna utilize the try catch method that we've been using from the beginning. Sorry. Okay. And what we want to do here, it's actually going to take two things. It's going to take two doubles, uh, or can we access the location object straight on? Snap.data, yeah, position. It's a position object. So perhaps we can do that. Well, yeah, we can do that, or we can just play it simple, so we don't have to as well import the geolocator inside the user repository. I'm going to say double lat and double longe. And going to copy that, paste it as well on the Firebase user repository method. And here I'm going to say async, important, because you're using a wait. And here instead of set, we're going to use update, and it's a map that we're looking for. And we are going to update the location field inside our database, and the location field is a map, remember? And we are going to say lat, and we're going to set that to lat, and we're going to say longe, and this is going to be longitude right there. And we also need my user as well, so we can access the user ID. Here you could do that, but you also could say that we can do Firebase. I don't know if we have a Firebase. Yeah, we have a Firebase auth dot current user dot UID. That would work as well. And so we can just forget that. Okay. Well, let's see if that works. No idea if that's gonna work. Here, sorry. Well, before doing that, user repository dot set setup location, and so the latitude is this, and the longitude is this. So we're inside the app view dot dart file, right? Up, and we can delete that and reload our entire app, reload it again. Perhaps I'm gonna have to log out. Why is the logout not working? Did we broke something without thinking it? Perhaps we broke something. So let's check screen profile screen at the very top. That's okay. That's our setup. Sign out required. Authenticated. Is it? Um, should I do that? And otherwise, I'm just going to say return container to make that mandatory. Let's see, because I should be logged out now. Authentication and no, next state authenticated. That's this future builder that is creeping everyone, I think. Um, I don't understand. Oh, well, now nothing is working anymore. Yeah, the app is properly frozen. I don't know what and I know when you use geolocator, you for sure need to refresh your app. So perhaps that I'll take you back once the app launched again. Well, I was waiting on the app to rebuild, and I totally forgot that with the geolocator package, if you go to the pub.dev, you have some setting up to do. So here you just need to copy those things, and you just need to implement those within your info.playlist file that's inside your iOS folder inside your app. Okay, so you need to navigate to iOS runner. That's not going to work, so I'm just going to stop it. iOS runner, and inside your info.playlist, you will need to add those lines right there. And I'm not really sure where is the best place to put them. Uh, yeah, perhaps I can just put them right here, um, up there under. It doesn't really matter. Up. Save that. Yeah. And now let's try to rebuild this thing. See if that works. So once you added that in your info.playlist, if you're debugging on Android, there is just these properties that you need to add to your Gradle file, and as well make your Android compatible for the version 33 minimum. So you navigate to Android app build.gradle. Okay, so Android. Where is Android? I'm blind. Here, Android app build.gradle, and here the minimum version of your app. So you have compiled SDK version. Okay, here. So it's here, compiled SDK version. So by default, you have this, which is provided by Flutter, but here you need to actually manually put it. Okay, and the Gradle property, which is somewhere around here as well. I think it's in this one. You need to add android.userx and enable Jettifier. So that's really the only thing that you need to do for Android. So very straightforward. I'll get you guys back once the app is rebuilding. Okay. Well, the app is building, and we have our requirement to get the location. So I'm going to say allow while using the app. Null check operation on a new null value. Let's try to pass that. To pass that again. Okay. Let's see if our database was updated. So let's refresh that. It was not updated. So there is definitely a problem within our here. So here, um, so we can get rid of that, I guess, because that really doesn't matter. And we can rebuild everything. And here it says what? Null check operator used on null value. Perhaps that's this. So if we replace that's not the right error. Location, that's the right name, right? Location. Location is the right name. Um, let's print lat and let's print longe. And as well, let's print this, because those are the three really places where something could go wrong, right? In my opinion. So if we refresh all this, so latitude, longitude, that's good. And then we don't have our UID. So that could be the problem. So if I'm just replacing here with the my user, and instead of using that, I'm using my user ID, which is going to imply then having to add that one as well to our user repo right there, and then as well onto our app view here. So we have snap.data latitude, we have the longitude, and we also need to give it our user, which is there, state.user. Okay. So let's try to rebuild this and see if something is going better. That's still null. Yeah, we still have a problem. Null check operation on the null value. Yeah, well, I didn't change that. So for sure, if I didn't change that, my user.user ID. Path is not a document path must not be an empty string. Oh, is it too early, right? Perhaps it is. We know we have the latitude, we know we have the longitude. That's an empty thing because we're here, and but the state is okay. Perhaps it's that state dot user dot, yeah, state dot user. I'm doing that. But that doesn't work. That's weird. Let me check that up. All right, guys, I saw the problem. So we couldn't log out, right? That's why we had all of those errors, is because as we changed, you remember this my user for the stream subscription, we didn't change this parameter that actually triggers either if we send authenticated or unauthenticated. And here, prior it was different than null, but now it's not different than null. It's different than my user.empty. That's really the difference key here, because if we navigate to our Firebase user repository and to the top to the getter, you see that we are actually looking at if the Firebase user is empty, is null here, and we are yielding either an empty my user or a my user, right? So that was a little misunderstanding, and on my side really, more than anything else, because now it should work no problem. So if I log myself in, test at gmail.com, and test 1 2 3 4, wow. I'm logged, and now let's see if that was yes, that was updated right here. We have our latitude and our longitude inside our database. So that works now. Amazing. That's pretty cool. And if we refresh, everything is working. There is no problem. Perfect. So really everything was fine. It was just because we've changed the authentication kind of stuff. So here we can delete all of that. Everything was fine. And we can for sure here use Firebase authentication dot current user dot UID. That should work as well. Well, we've built it with the my user now, so we're just going to keep that way, but keep in mind that would work as well. So after an hour 48 minutes of video, we've managed to actually create all of those things. So we have in our database now the pictures that the user has, the location of the users with the latitude and the longitude that we store. We have as well the description that's there and the age that is right there as well. And everything is dynamic. So if we go here, we see that we can see those stuff right there. So we are actually going to stop this second part now because it's actually already a pretty long video. And we're going to come back for a third part where in this part, we're going to deal with the like, the dislike system. So as I told in the beginning of the video, I think we are going to utilize the sub collection of a user with liked by and like as sub collections and match and see where it goes. So anyway, thank you very much for sticking around and watching this video. Thanks for being here and being so supportive in the comments. I really enjoy it, and to read all of the comments, I'm pretty much responding to anyone. So feel free to ask your questions there. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.